You are back with us on America's Forum. Also back with us, Niger Innes, Republican candidate for Congress from Nevada's 4th District. Niger, we're going to pick up the questioning now with Morgan Thompson.
Welcome back to the show, Mr. Innes. So I'm curious to know, how are people in your state currently getting health care, and what's been their reaction to these failed exchanges?
Well, the reaction to the failed exchanges is, first of all, all the problems that the Obamacare website had, healthcare.org or healthcare.gov had, with 10 times more problems. More than that, I mean, this is strictly anecdotal, but you can take this one case story and multiply it, I'm sure, by 20, which is actually one of my campaign staff or my campaign team, who's actually a consultant, went to the doctor. She's suffering from asthma, and she went to the doctor the other day, to her doctor, and her doctor asked her, I hope that you'll be paying with your own private insurance and not through the Silver State Exchange, which is our local Nevada exchange, or our own local Obamacare manifestation. And that's it, because we do not accept Silver State Exchange folk that carry insurance. And there was a story in the Review Journal, which is our New York Times here in Nevada, that says that when Obamacare is truly brought to fruition, and it's Nevada reflection, the Silver State Exchange, there are going to be 90,000 more Nevadans that lose or get their health care insurance downgraded. So that's what we're facing.
So how are they currently getting health care? Just out of their own pocket?
No, a combination. I mean, some folk did have their, I mean, that's the real tragedy of this case, is that a lot of folk, not just in Nevada, but all across the country, some 80 to 85% of Americans actually had health care insurance and were pretty happy with their health care insurance that they had. And so that was the case in Nevada as well. I mean, what is happening in Nevada, which is also happening to a great extent nationwide, is there's a swelling of the Medicaid rolls. I mean, you're essentially expanding Medicaid, which of course is already not feasible in its current state. It's already economically not feasible. And so, what did I believe it was Einstein that said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Well, Niger, I wanted to ask you a question and get your reaction to something that Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz said over the weekend. And she was talking about the issue of Benghazi and Republicans blowing up that issue because, her words, the GOP has lost the fervor when it comes to talking about Obamacare. But listening to you, it doesn't sound like you lost any fervor talking about Obamacare.
Not at all. Not at all. You know why? Because Obamacare is just talking for itself. I mean, again, this is a story, and this is a fairly recent story. You guys can check it yourselves, or your listeners can check it yourselves. There's a Review Journal saying that it is estimated that one Obamacare is, through its Silver State Exchange, the Nevada manifestation of Obamacare, is truly implemented by 2015. There are going to be an additional 90,000 Nevadans. That's a lot of people for the state of Nevada are going to lose their health care coverage or get their health care coverage downgraded. In other words, it's going to be an inferior product because of the implementation of Obamacare. So no, we're not losing our momentum. I think we're doing a very smart thing, which is letting Obamacare speak for itself. I think there was a recent poll, I think it was Pew, that said that Obamacare has never been more unpopular than it is today. And that's because you don't need politicians or candidates or even elected officials talking about it. The bill, the law itself is speaking for itself loud and clear.
Niger, you're in South Florida for a fundraising trip. That's a reality of politics. But again, we hear so much different talk from Washington, from your political opponents. John Bogman was just quoting Debbie Wasserman Schultz saying, oh, look, Republicans are moving away from Obamacare. I'm very interested, when you are on the stump in Nevada, in the 4th Congressional District, what is the issue that people talk to you about the most? Is it health care?
No, it is not health care. Health care is a close number 2 or number 3, but it is definitely jobs in the economy. And there's also just a general feeling, and this goes across lines. I mean, you guys know that I'm involved in a Republican primary. I'm gonna take out an establishment, soft and squishy Republican that voted for the Silver State Exchange and voted for the expansion of Medicaid rolls. So after I take him out, then I'll take on Mr. Horsford. But even among a cross section, so for the time being, I'm talking mostly to conservatives, to Republicans. But from time to time, I get invited to speak before Democrats. And what is universal among independents, Republicans, Democrats, libertarians, is a general sense and a general feeling that the American dream is either in peril or the American dream is dead. And that is a real tragedy. This country is not only the economic engine, but it is the morale engine for the world. And if we go down, if we lose faith in ourselves as a country, then I would say that civilization itself is in peril.
Now, Mr. Ernest, getting back a little bit to the Obamacare and these failed exchanges, the federal government is already supporting 36 states, which is way more than they had ever anticipated. If we start to see more and more of these start to fail, which is looking like we're going to see, do we expect to see costs to keep increasing?
Yes, the costs will keep increasing. The Fed will continue to print money out of whole cloth to pay for it. Okay, there'll be quantitative easing 3, 4, 5, Roman numeral 55, and we will be on the road to bankruptcy and on the road to a society and a country that has more people not working that could work and dependent on government largesse than out there being the entrepreneurial and small business developing engine that we've been for the world. That is what makes America an exceptional nation. That's what makes America the economic engine and the morale engine for the planet. And what I sense and what has to be reversed, and Obamacare, unfortunately, is very much a part of it. I mean, you saw the report that said that Obamacare is going to push or nudge a number of people from going full-time to going to part-time or going off the rolls completely, off the payroll completely.
Niger, you mentioned time, whether it is full-time or part-time. We're almost out of time. Niger and his candidate for the Republican nomination for Congress in Nevada's 4th District, we appreciate your time very much. For purposes of full disclosure, Niger and I, a year ago, were both in the employ of the TeaParty.net. As a recovering congressman, I needed to add that. We're coming right back.